OK, let's go to more of your calls. Valerie's in Peckham and you're through to Mayor Johnson. Go ahead, Valerie. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr Mayor, Boris.
Good morning, Valerie.
Good morning. I feel like I should call you now the Dr Beeching of South East London.
Dr Beeching? On the contrary, I'm about to expand services massively.
Fact that you and Transport for London have been constructive in stopping the Victoria to London Bridge line because of the and we are now told in Peckham and Nunhead and Denmark Hill we can avoid changing in central London. But why would I want to go to Clapham Junction, Surrey Quays, Canada Water, when formerly for 146 years we could go on a shuttle 25 minutes from Victoria to London Bridge and have ease of journey.
OK, just to remind listeners,
Valerie,
of course, Mr Mayor, for those, Thomas Beeching closed vast tracts of the overground railway service 100 plus years ago, several decades ago.
Yes, but unlike Dr Beeching, Valerie, we have massively expanded the service in South London because we've just completed the London inner orbital rail link, which takes you, as you rightly say, from Clapham Junction all the way round to up to Willesden in the west, and then of course all the way around to
Valerie, that's
all the way around to Canada Water.
Yeah, but why she's got to go round when she used to be able to go straight in?
There was this. What Valerie is complaining about is the loss of a service that was a decision taken not by us, but by the Department for Transport. By the Department for Transport, which decided that because of capacity constraints at London Bridge,
getting home
they couldn't. I'm sorry.
Sorry, you're a single female trying to get home late at night, are you, my dear?
Yes. Yeah. How do I get home now from Victoria?
Well, you change at Clapham Junction.
Oh, God.
That's what you do.
Yes, I know I do.
Okay, and what we've done is we've massively expanded the communications in the whole of the southeast, the whole of South London. And what we're going to do, Valerie, is, and I'm very hopeful we'll pull this off, is we're working with the Department of Transport to see if we can have more of a role for TfL in the overground trains in the whole of southeast London.
How will that help this lady getting down to London Bridge?
If you look at this, this won't be of any particular use to Valerie, but it will be of massive use to people.
So people like Valerie, unfortunately, just have to suffer. Let's be honest.
I'm absolutely clear with you. That I'm sorry about what's happened to that particular line. It was a decision taken by the DfT. We did lobby against it, Valerie. We wanted to keep that old route open. There was no way of doing it, but the addition of that orbital link has many more customers, and is a huge benefit to South London. But the real prize is getting the franchise for South East trains and having a role in connecting up the underground and the overground, so you have a proper metro style. So if you in South London, you can wait for half an hour for a train to come.
We must move on. I've got so many people, Mr. I do apologise. Eugene, Valerie, thank you for your call. Eugene's in Dagenham. You want to come back to the question of Newham, Eugene? You're through to the Mayor. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, Eugene.
Yeah, I don't know where you're getting your facts from, because I used to live in Newham. Since the inception of the Olympic, the jobs that was created in Newham were not given to the local resident that lived in Newham. Thousands of the jobs were given to people from the Eastern European, and at the end of the day, these people never lived in that borough. As far as I'm concerned, since the inception of the Olympic, Newham has even been made worse. We had to be forced out because, one, we are priced out. Secondly, I work for the TfL. I work for London Underground, to be precise. You're talking about the Jubilee line. The Jubilee line is a new line, and it has the most major problem on the underground.
Eugene, I will finish there to let the Mayor get in. There is this sense that
Eugene, actually, the huge effort was gone to make sure that jobs went to local residents in the 5 host boroughs. About 20,000 jobs were created just by LOCOG alone for people living in that area. And of course, I share your ambition, which is to get young Londoners into these jobs rather than necessarily people coming from abroad, and that's why the apprenticeship scheme that we've been doing is so important. You cannot hope to get our young kids to compete with very, very job-hungry, competitive people coming from other parts of the world unless they're properly trained up, and that's why the apprenticeship scheme is so vital. But on the Jubilee line, if you want to get me going there, I mean, the investment has been massive, and you're already seeing a huge improvement in the results.
All right. A question from me before we come to Paola in Hampstead. Is it acceptable to have 30 detectives investigating what might or might not have happened with Andrew Mitchell at the gates at number 10?
Well, I can't comment on...
What? You can't comment on the number of officers?
No, because it's an operational matter and you wouldn't expect me to.
No, I'm not asking you to say what happened. I'm asking you about the 30 officers, 30 detectives. Is that suitable use of resources?
Obviously, that's an operational decision for Commissioner Hogan-Howe. What I'm sure Bernard wants to do is to get to the bottom of the matter.
Well, Bernard, as you call him, Bernard Hogan-Howe, was on this programme on Tuesday. He told us that he was trying to ensure that he would get it resolved by Christmas. We've spoken to other senior officers. There's CCTV footage. We know the names of the officers who were there at the time. How come it needs 30 officers, Mr. Mayor?
Nick, I am not leading the investigation. I am the Mayor. I have accountability for policing. I'm not going to... It'd be totally wrong for me to spell out the whys and wherefores of an investigation.
What's it done for the Met? How does you see the Met in your eyes?
People are a bit slow on the uptake about what's going on here, and I think it's been a bit foggy because the media, I think...
I'm not foggy.
No, but...
I know it doesn't need 30 detectives.
If you looked at the media yesterday, it was clear they didn't quite understand what was happening. And...
Well, that might be because people like you don't tell us what's happening.
Well, unfortunately, there's an operation going on, which I
appreciate that.
Cannot,
but you can't even have a view on 30 detectives. The Mayor doesn't even have a view on that.
Nick, this is an operational matter, which it would be inappropriate. What I can say is that I think, I don't even know. I can't confirm that it's 30 detectives or not. This is something that
it was in the paper you write a column for.
The Met is leading on, and you would want them to get to the truth about this.
For God's sake, it takes an afternoon. You get the blokes in, you sit them in a room, and you sort it out. It doesn't take 30 detectives, does it? How does the Met look in your eyes at this time?
Well, clearly there's a serious question to answer by the members of the Diplomatic Protection Squad, the officer concerned who's alleged to have sent a fallacious email. That's got to be sorted out.
He's got to go if it's true, isn't he?
Well, look,
Here we go. Operational matter, presumably, Mr. Mayor. Is that what we're going to do?
No. What I can say, and this is, everybody can see that if the facts are as they appear in the papers this morning, in other words, if some officer has sent a bogus email purporting to be an innocent bystander and a member of the public, then that is very serious indeed. And it's not, I tell you, key point, Nick, it's not just serious because it affected the career of a Tory cabinet minister or whatever. It's serious because everybody in London has a right and a duty, a right to expect the police to be fair and to be scrupulous in their testimony about what happened, what may or may not have happened with them.
Paola's in Hampstead. Thank you for hanging on the line. Paola, you're through to the Mayor. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Mayor. I've just got something which I hope is not too going to beleaguer you here.
Go on.
I just want to... It's about the cyclist thing, which I know is something that you feel very strongly about. What I just wanted to ask you is, as a driver, I think that the cyclist should be obliged to have insurance.
Yes.
And I just wondered if this is going to be something that is going to come into force. I mean, I had a new car where the first week a cyclist hit it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't... it's gone with the scratches and stuff because my no claims bonus will be shot.
I understand.
Yes, of course, that's right. Paola, I'm sorry.
Let me just quickly try and answer Paola, because I know that she speaks on behalf of many motorists who feel frustrated about this particularly, and also many people say to me, why can't we license cyclists? Why can't we compel them to wear helmets? All this kind of thing. The difficulty I have, I do want them to obey the rules of the road, and I do want them to be fined, and they are increasingly fined. I think we had a large number of fines last year for cyclists jumping lights or riding on pavements. But I think, Paola, the difficulty is when you start heavily regulating this form of transport, you will drive it off the roads, or you will cause lots of people to break the law, and I don't want to see that.
So you don't want licenses?
I don't want that. I'm afraid I think it would be amount to...
You don't want insurance?
An unnecessary insurance. The two things would come to the same thing.
Yeah, sure. I agree. You don't want either.
I think it would lead to a barrier to cycling. It would deter
some would say
people
safety,
from it.
Of course.
Well,
and responsibility. But you call it a barrier.
Yes, I do, and it's obviously I understand. I appreciate what people are saying. I appreciate that there's a concern, but there is a balance to be struck, and I fear that we would stop people cycling if we went down that route.
Two of London's greatest football teams have got to postpone their football game on Boxing Day, Mr. Mayor, because of yet another planned strike by London Underground drivers. This is Arsenal and, of course, West Ham.
I mean, this thing is totally outrageous, and there is a long-standing agreement with the trades unions which covers all these days, all bank holidays. All I can say to these guys is they're taking breads off the tables of their own families. And let me show you something, Nick, that will interest you.
Go ahead.
I'm getting. I just haven't.
And while you find that, I should perhaps suggest
a presentation we're getting later on today,
right?
From TfL.
The mayor's going to show me some documents, I think. Because many of my... Right, okay, thank you very much.
Absolutely amazing.
A new... is this with driverless trains?
Absolutely.
Right, because I was just going to say...
that is the future.
The clamour on this on LBC is extraordinary. How long before they're running?
That is the future. We need to start making the decisions and the investments now. It won't... I can't pretend to you it's going to be instant, but it will be a fantastic thing for this city.
It looks a very good presentation. I must hand it back to you, but that will be a great day. Dennis is in Victoria. You're through to the Mayor. Dennis, go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Mayor.
Hi, Dennis.
I'd like to ask you a question on a building regulation that everybody's got to pay £32 per square metre, which goes directly to you. This is on new builds, which subsidise Crossrail. Could you tell me why? Surely this will curtail building in the private sector to people.
Mr. Mayor, do you have knowledge of this?
Yeah, Dennis, this only applies to buildings over a certain developments over a certain scale. And I'm afraid that you're absolutely right. This is the community infrastructure levy. This is what we're putting in for Crossrail. It's part of the basic maths of Crossrail, I'm afraid, Dennis. We are very careful to work with developers and work with councils to try to make sure that it doesn't stop any good development going ahead. If you're having a particular problem with a scheme that you feel is being frustrated because of this levy, then I'll be very interested to hear about it. And TfL would be only too happy to see what your problem is.
Dennis, thank you for that. Maybe you want to talk to one of the team. We'll try and make that happen. Coming to our last minute or so with the Mayor, how acceptable is it that a young woman might have their backside touched by a senior colleague in a workplace?
It's obviously unacceptable. And
the allegation was made about one of your deputy mayors, Stephen Greenhalgh. What's come as a result of that? Well,
it's been made very clear to everybody, including Deputy Mayor for Police and Crime, that any such behaviour is unacceptable. Though I would stress that, Nick, to be fair to all parties in this, the facts are unclear. And
he's apologised for something which he says he didn't do.
Well,
that's a extraordinary turn-up, isn't it?
Just if you spool back a bit, this was something that the employee, the female employee, really didn't want to come out. It came out because of effectively people within City Hall, talking to each other and then to the media, and we had to have to try to establish what had happened. It wasn't easy because there were conflicting accounts, and the best thing I've been able to say, and I've said this very firmly to Deputy Mayor of Police and Crime and to everybody else, is we don't tolerate that kind of thing.
Did it happen?
Well, that I'm afraid is not clear from the report of the GLA monitoring officer. But there's
not CCTV in your lifts, presumably, is there?
I don't believe there is.
That's a shame, isn't it? Sean's in Brent Cross. Final question for today for the Mayor. Go ahead, Sean.
Boris, how you doing? You do crack me up, mate. Quick question for you. If you weren't a politician, what do you reckon you'd do?
Well, I would love to. What I would like to do is, obviously, I'd be a. That's a jolly. I would like to. I've always wanted to write very badly, and
you have written books, so I'm not allowing that.
No.
Next.
Okay. Well,
don't say journalist because you've done that.
I'd like to have been a painter. I'd like to. There you go. Stop sneering!
What sort of art?
Sneering.
No, I'm not. What sort of art, Mr.
Sneering.
What sort of art would have
my artistic pretensions?
What have you ever done? Any painting?
Right, it's too embarrassing. I'm shutting up now.
You have done some painting.
I do like painting.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
What like landscapes or
walls?
Final message as we come to the end of 2012 was an extraordinary year to you and the men and women who work with you. Even that fella over at TfL. I have to say you did an extraordinary job for this city. Your final reflection for LBC 97.3, your Christmas broadcast, if you would, and almost, I suppose, a vote of thanks for what the great people of our great city achieved.
That's exactly right, because the success of London 2012 wasn't in the end just down to TfL or the police or G4S or even to the they did a good job.
G4S?
They did. Even when they turned up, finally. It wasn't even down to the athletes. It was the volunteers and the whole of London that really made the games work. If you look at the way people responded to the games, to the event that was happening in their city, that was what gave it the lift, and that went around the world. And it was incredible in India to feel the enthusiasm for London and to realise what a good thing it was for our city. So I'd like to say thanks to everybody for that. And the key thing is, though, don't remember the triumph. Remember the pessimism, because already on this radio show this morning,
I'm doing what I can.
You have been trying to stir up the forces of gloom and apathy again.
Well, you were a journalist. You know what we're in business to do. What about the fact you're dancing? Isn't it the most viewed YouTube clip in the whole of the world or something? Have you seen that?
No, that's Gangnam Style. Have you seen Gangnam Style?
I have. Can you do that as well?
I can't do Gangnam Style.
What a shame. Now, that would be something to watch.
That is a great video.
Well done to the men and women who work with you, and I suppose a little bit to you
Happy
for
Christmas.
delivering an extraordinary year for London. Well done. Mayor Boris Johnson, look forward to seeing you in the new year. Happy Christmas to you and your staff. 9:34, let's go to the